Hey, Michael here. This is take 3. I'm getting back into that frustrated thing, which might mean there ain't going to be too many more videos, if any. This one might not even make it. I can't stand it when things start going that way. I get really mad and cuss, and that's why I'm starting over again. Phone started ringing, so I've disconnected it. Real quick to talk about some new vinyl and a couple of CDs. This is a very recent release from David Greenberger with David Greenberger, Keith Spring, and Dinty Child with Keiichi Hashimoto. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Playing on some of the tracks, playing trumpet and trombone. The title of the album is Take Me Where I Don't Know I Am. I want to show you this photograph. I hope you can really see that. I think it's one of the most beautiful photographs I've seen in quite some time. Although David designs all of his album covers. This is part of a lengthy series that he has been doing for years now, where he writes prose pieces based on conversations and interviews of elderly people, usually in nursing homes, beginning with the Duplex Nursing Home in Jamaica Plains, actually, and then going on from there with other elderlies. He's done work in various senior centers and other places around the country, often by invitation. Wonderful stuff. This is not the same, though, as listening to somebody doing a monologue and then having a soundtrack that's sort of illustrative behind it. This is a lot more like listening to a band whose frontman just happens to speak rather than sing. And that's always been David's interest as he began to do these. He increasingly began to think of them that way. This is a great one, one of the best out of a whole series of fantastic albums of this nature. I love it, and I hope somewhere along the line somebody else gets turned on to this artist and his body of work, which is quite large when you take into account his musical career, his this career, which is the dominant one now, and also as a visual artist and designer. If you look him up on Discogs, you'll get maybe 90 entries, most of which are actually David's design work for album covers and album art. This album came out last year. It's the Boche Berman, the comfortable songs of Chandler Travis and David Greenberger. I love this photo too. This is David and that is Chandler, and they are playing bocce. David's got a bocce ball right there in his hand, I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure that is a glass of bourbon with a little bit of the last of the day's sun. This was taken, I think, at Cape Cod. But that's neither here nor there. This is a collection of 19 songs that they have written together over decades of friendship. And it's just a great album and a great introduction both to the music of Chandler Travis and to the lyrics of David Greenberger, which are among the finest I know of. David never gets cliche, ever. And whether it's almost sentimental without irony or ironically funny or telling a story, he does it all. You get a song like Baby Come Get Your Cat, relationship kind of going bad. I Bit the Hand That Fed Myself, wonderful song. They're all Graciously is a song I've fallen in love with lately. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but recently on July 4th, Chandler Travis Philharmonic, I guess it was, or actually it was Chandler Travis Marching Band. I forget what they called it. But were parading, and they did a version of this where they had, and it adapts perfectly to that kind of stroll thing like New Orleans or something. And it's a really good song too. January, I've written about, is one of my favorite songs I've ever heard in my life. Just absolutely beautiful. This Is Home is based on his introduction when he first met one of the residents at the Duplex Planet, and is a truly, truly beautiful song. You and Me Pushing Up Daisies, which is a song that's pretty well known, has been it's been covered a number of times. It's been played a number of times. I believe this particular track is from it's from Ivan in Paris in 1998, but I also know that I'm pretty sure it was done by I think the Incredible Casuals did it too. Pretty sure, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know. Anyway, I really recommend this stuff. I really recommend these. This is some thoughtful music. If you're still really stuck in either classic rock or any kind of a riff rock or whatever, this isn't for you. If you like jazz, you might very much like a lot of this. Or if you just simply, like me, a guy who truly appreciates great songwriting for its own sake, you can't go wrong. You should have these. You can get them. Let's see. This is on Pell. So this you would get through the Duplex Planet website. This is on Itty Bitty. So this you would be able to order from Chandler and from his Bandcamp page probably, if it's still, if they're not all sold out. If they are, though, you can still buy it as a download, I'm quite sure. Okay, vinyl. I'll start with the reissue type of stuff. I couldn't pass it by. This is a great album, and it's one of the albums that I didn't have as a CD by Beastie Boys, and one that I've always... This is the album where I started catching on. I did not like License to Ill initially. I didn't get it because everybody that I knew that liked it, I think they took it... They didn't recognize the satirical side of the Beastie Boys. But as good as that album is, it's really kind of pushing into a hardcore sort of level, like some of their early stuff that you can hear on some other records. But this is, of course, pretty well recognized as being like a historic masterpiece. So hey, and wow, it's just brilliant. I love it, and it sounds great. I know it was remastered from digital, but it's very possible, given the era that this was recorded initially, it's very possible that it was digitally recorded to begin with. Got another reissue here that I just bought. The Who, My Generation, in mono. Basically, I got it because every time I find this in the wild as a used record, it's just beat all up. And I'd forgotten what was great. Legal Matter is on this, which My Generation is. So it's got some really, really great songs, and then some really good R&B stuff that I'd kind of forgotten about how great they were with a lot of that. I'm not the world's biggest Who fan. I don't even like Tommy, honestly. I really don't care for that album. But there are other albums that they've made that are great, like The Who Sell Out, Who's Next, Magic Bus. They made great albums, but I never thought of them really, aside from Quadrophenia and Tommy, as being album bands. An album band. I've always thought of them as a singles band, and I still tend to. Anyway, good album, sounds great too. And this one, a Rhino reissue. It calls it Jazz for the Punk Rock Set, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to take a little bit of. I don't agree. This isn't jazz, but it is a damn good album, and one that I could probably have found it used, but the price wasn't too bad, and to have one that had never been played was nice. And so yeah, I'm happy to have it, and I've only played this one once. Television is one of the bands out of that CBGB punk era that I've never really gotten as familiar with as a lot of the others. You know, obviously like the Ramones, Blondie, Talking Heads. These are all bands that were part of that whole CBGB scene that, for marketing purposes, they kind of broke it up and said, oh, this is punk and this is new wave. Nobody in CBGB was talking about that kind of a distinction at the time. They were all basically playing there, and pretty much their audience was each other initially. But Television is a great band, and a good example of how silly a punk label is, because this is so stylistically off the path of what most people want to call punk and say is real punk, which would be more the Ramones or Sex Pistols or something. This is a whole different vein. It had to do with timing, very much like I think Stranglers kind of got called punk when really what they are is just a goddamn good band, you know. Yeah, sure, of course there's they were of their time. And this album, which is my favorite Tame Impala album, I've been wanting it on vinyl for a long time. I have it on a CD, but finally I broke down. I have this on vinyl. I have everything that they did before this as MP3s, and I do have Lonerism. I have not even listened to the whole most recent album that they put out. They've just gotten further and further removed from me. To me, this was the peak, though. It's sort of like listening to late 60s, early 70s rock, definitely as heard through 2000-somethings, let's say 2007 years, or whatever, 2010 maybe even. I don't remember when this came out. I don't even remember now. Anyway, really happy to have it. I think some people think it's too devoted to the past. I don't. I don't agree. Yeah, the guy's voice sounds kind of John Lennon-y, but definitely without that intense immediacy and urgency that John Lennon had in his singing. The music definitely ranges a lot through that kind of power trio kind of thing, Cream and that sort of thing. But you can hear a lot of influences, but all well digested. So that I think it's a damn good album. I did not realize that the vinyl version of it was actually 4 sides. I never really caught that. And last of all, and I hope I pronounce this properly, Slater Kinney, No Cities to Love. This is the one that is not a reissue. And I was never a huge fan of them and their earlier albums, and I'd heard that they were back together. But I have always kind of really dug Karen Brownstein. I mean, she's just awesome. And then I saw them, maybe it was a video, anyway, and I was pretty blown away. I still didn't know, and I'm not really sure what it is that didn't click with me with their early albums. I have them all as MP3s, and maybe it has to do with the format or something, that they don't sound very great to me. This sounds great. This is 3 sides. The album itself, No Cities to Love, is sides A and B, and then there is a side C that is 2 songs that are not listed on the track listing of the album itself. I don't know. Is this a deluxe set? I don't really even know. I bought it partly because the price was good, very good. I thought $35 for a double LP. Although I didn't realize it was double. I thought initially that it was like a book and a kind of thing. And it's got the lyrics in here, and than a big poster. I'm not going to bother unfolding. But so I bought it partly because of the packaging, and I also bought it because I thought, you know, I really liked that one song, and I don't even remember what song it was. I'd heard them play. But I got home and played it. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is on Sub Pop, so that means, isn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a Sub Pop. Yeah, it's a Sub Pop. So I don't know if that means if that's if I got color because I got a loser. What did they call it? Anyway, they call it the loser thing or whatever. Where if you get the first 200 of, and maybe they aren't doing that anymore, but it was that the first 200 of their albums would always be pressed in colored vinyl, and then after that they were black, and they called that a loser. So anyway, it's on white vinyl. And it's a stunningly beautiful album in absolutely every sense of the word. Every song on it is great. So I got to go back and reevaluate this band. I really I missed something first time. Oh, and then of course the groovy part here is that on the seaside, Heavy When I Need It, and The Fog and Filthy Air on that side, and then the other side, I don't know if you can really see it, but it has a really nice etching that's done basically white on white, and the contrast is matte versus the gloss of the stuff, which is nice if if you're making a three-sided album. First three-sided album I ever saw was Johnny Winter album Second Winter, which is an album I would love to find again. It's blues rock, and it's not my favorite style of music. Even when I was really into blues, I kind of like more traditional blues than blues rock. But that particular album is just a killer album, and so I'm always looking for that and a couple of other early Johnny Winter's albums. The later stuff, I don't know why, but it just sort of gets hard for me. Anyway, that's it. Gorgeous record, gorgeous album, and boy, I'm really glad I bought it. It was a blind buy in a lot of ways, but I thought, I'll give it a shot, and I'm certainly happy I did. That's it for new stuff. I'm going to turn this off now because I'm getting ready to do and talk about some old stuff. Later. If I can find that button.